Cliff situation going forward? Have you finished gathering information? And
I haven't finished anything, so he's suspended until we get more information on the situation.
Any other questions? Oh, Aaron.
What type of information are you trying to gather on the situation?
Everything. I want to know the whole deal, so.
Beyond what the police have said already?
I haven't talked to them, so. Yeah, Anthony's done a nice job for us in practice, provides more depth for us at the linebacker spot, starting to work his way into being a special teams player for us, a physical player, got some size in there. You know, it's you're facing some teams that can, you know, Colorado was a run the football type of team, so you need a little bit more size in there at linebacker, and I thought in his first playing time in the Colorado game, he did a good job.
Quick scouting report on Washington State.
Offensively, I think they're much improved. They're running the ball better than they have last year. They've obviously played two quarterbacks, and I was really impressed with Jeff Toole last year. Obviously, he went down early, but Marshall Lobenstell has done a really, really good job of filling in for him. They got three outstanding receivers in Wilson, Carstetter, and Barton, throwing the ball all over the place. And I think they're an improved football team. They've lost a couple close games recently. But defensively, three solid linebackers, a real good core of linebackers in Mizell and Hoffman-Ellis and Kafusi. Physical defense, and they're playing good football right now. You know, I think it's Paul's done a really nice job of taking over a tough situation up there.
Do you have any sort of status update on LaMichael and Darren? Will they be available
Of
to
who?
play?
We haven't
LaMichael
talked about that, and we're not going to talk about that, Melissa.
Chip, you guys are lauded for your depth. Is that a function, do you think, of how well you recruit, or do you think you develop the depth because of the way you practice and play, or is it a combination? Or
I really think it's a combination. You know, I think obviously we've had some success, but I think the big thing in recruiting is finding guys that fit your system. You know, it's not what the recruiting services says is a good player or a bad player, you know, from a star system and all that. We don't get caught up in that, but kids that can fit. And I think our part of our strength and conditioning program and the work that Jimmy Radcliffe does with those guys, and then our individual position coaches and helping develop players. And I think the one thing kids know when they come here is that if you merit playing time, you're going to play. You know, we're not caught up in that we're only going to play 11 guys on defense and 11 guys on offenses. That, you know, we play at a certain tempo and pace on both sides of the ball that warrant us to play a lot of guys. So if we can get a lot of guys that can get up to speed, then they'll have the ability to play, and we'll play them. So.
and does that, if I could follow up,
Yeah,
that ability that they know they're going to play, does that help maybe the chemistry, the fact they know there's not going to just be 11 guys on offense and 11 guys on defense?
Yeah, I really do, and that's a good point, is that I think our guys understand is that, you know, you earn your playing time here, and everything's earned here, and that, you know, if you work hard and do what we ask you to do, then you're going to find your way on the field, you know, and whether it's an integral role as a special teams player or really, as we talk about, we don't really have any backups because we have rotations, and with that, I think it gets a lot more guys involved, and I think it helps when you got the more people you can have contributing, the better off I think the chemistry and attitude of the team is. So.
Just wondering your general assessment with Kenyon and DeAnthony last couple games, both of them more in a featured role, and how they've blossomed in that. Yeah,
I think it's been more obviously Kenyon. You know, he's been the guy that's stepped up a little bit for us, and it's what we expected. You know, I've always said that I felt Kenyon could start at a lot of schools in this country. He's one of the more talented running backs in the nation, and we're fortunate to have both him and LaMichael. And then I think DeAnthony has spotted in certain situations at the running back spot and then in the slot. And then, you know, the addition of Trey Carson got a little bit more of an extensive role in the Colorado game. But, you know, again, it just speaks to our depth. But I've always felt, and I think our staff has always felt, that we've had two quality running backs that are, you know, right up there with the top running backs in the country. And I, you know, I don't think there's much of a in fact, it was very ironic. I think LaMichael was averaging 170-point-something yards a game, and then Kenyon's first game in, he runs for 171, which is just, you know, kind of, can you fill his shoes? I think he filled his shoes by a half a yard more. So, but it's what we expected as a staff, just because, you know, being around Kenyon and those guys have been a great 1-2 punch for the last, you know, we're in year 3 with those guys together. So.
Coach, Brian stepped in and played pretty well at quarterback. In general terms, what are your thoughts about a 2-quarterback system? LSU is doing that just in the past in New Hampshire or even here. In general terms, your thoughts on?
I've never been a 2-quarterback guy. I think if you play 2 quarterbacks, then you have no quarterback. So I've always been, that's the one position we don't rotate on. And since I've been here, it was Dennis in 2007, and then we settled on Jeremiah, and then we settled last year when it was a big battle between Nate and Darren. But yeah, I think at that position, you got to have one that's different than the other positions where you rotated. So.
Yeah, talk a bit about Terrell Turner and the joker he seems to be off the field and the defensive player he's been on the field.
Terrell's done a really nice job, both on the field and off the field. He's a very spirited young man, but the one thing I've been really impressed with is how hard he plays, and he has the ability. Some guys don't have the ability to turn it on and off, but he does have the unique quality. When he's on the practice field, he practices very hard, and in games he plays with great intensity. And he's very enjoyable to be around off the field.
Yeah, I've played a lot of guys at corner. If Cliff's out, did you see anything you liked from Dior Mathis? Do you think Avery Patterson might play some corner just to keep?
No, Avery's
the
playing
rotation?
safety for us right now. Actually, started for us against Colorado, but we're five. We were 4 deep at corner, and all those guys have played. And Cliff hasn't played a whole heck of a lot, anyways. But Dior is the 5th, and then got some extensive playing time in the Colorado game. And I know we wouldn't hesitate to put Dior in there if we were going to go 5 deep. So. I think Troy's done a really nice job and has really come along for us. And it's, it's an ongoing battle on a weekly basis with all those guys on, and I think they thrive on that competition part of it. So, I thought T. Mitch did a really nice job coming in nickel, and we'll see how that works itself out again this week. But you're going to face a team that throws the ball a little bit more than Colorado, so we're going to have to rely on all 4 of those corners.
Hold on a second, Rick. Go ahead. I saw yesterday that you weren't in favor of playing Washington State at Seattle next year. Is that a topic of discussion at all, or has that been decided?
That was the first I heard of it. So.
And why would you not be in favor of it? Is it just a preference to play on campus?
No, I believe, the whole deal that was presented to me is that we don't play at home. So we'd always play in Seattle. So if I don't want to trade a game at Autzen Stadium. If they want to move a game, they can do whatever they want if it's their home day. That doesn't bother me. But the one proposal I heard was that we play in Seattle every year. We don't go to Pullman, but we don't come back to Eugene either. And I'm not in favor of that. I love playing in front of our hometown fans. So.
Coach, I want to follow up on what Rob was talking about. Talk about your linebackers. We're just beyond midway in the season, how much they've improved. DeWitt, and of course, Clay has the interception in Colorado. It seemed like they've done.
DeWitt's had a really nice season so far, and started for us in the LSU game, and then has really picked up and really been a stalwart in there. Getting Michael Clay back, one of the real experienced defenders for us that's played a ton of football, and is arguably, coming out of the spring was maybe our best defensive player. So he's really solidified that spot for us. Then adding Kiko in the mix, and we've got great production out of our 2 outside linebackers and Kadu and the combo. So we feel a little bit better about that situation, but we need to still develop depth behind DeWitt, Michael, and Kiko.
Just regarding the Cliff situation, how disappointing is it that this situation comes up again at all?
Very disappointing.
Did you know that he was driving at all before? Did he have a car?
No, I didn't. It's first I heard of it. So.
Not having Colt on the trip, that affect much of what you did in terms of your tight end rotation or how much you played?
No, I thought Nick Musgrove did a nice job. Nick is our 3rd tight end and was pressed into action as our 2nd tight end with Colt being out, and caught a pass down near the goal line and did a real solid job blocking for us. So, we'll see how it goes through the week of practice this week in terms of what our rotation will be as we get to Saturday. So. They're physical, and 4-3 team, and the 3 linebackers really kind of set the tone for them. And Mizell, Kafusi, and Hoffman Ellis, real tough, hard-nosed guys. They like to bring those guys to bring a 5th rusher. They play a lot of man in the secondary. And then obviously, and I still think their 4D line and Travis Long and that group right there can present some problems too. So well-coached defense that really is playing tough physical football, which we'll give them a shot every week.
Jesse?
Jeff, can you talk about Dustin Haynes, both what you saw out of him Saturday and his progress since he's joined the quarterbacks unit?
Yeah, Dustin's done a nice job in every role that we've asked him to play. I think, you kind of seen him. He's played in games at receiver. He's played in games at running back. He's come in games as a backup quarterback. Is a great scout player for us and kind of plays a lot of different roles when he goes down that end of the field. Just one of those key contributors on a team that probably goes unnoticed. But I think what he does in practice for us is really gets us ready in terms of playing. And it's good when we get a chance to play a game like that he can get some snaps in there and get a chance to play quarterback a little bit and have some fun, because that's what, a lot of those guys that you guys don't see very much, but do an unbelievable job for us in practice and helping prepare us to playing games. It's their opportunity to go out and play a little bit. And I thought in the game against Colorado did a really nice job.
Rick? I know it's 24/7 job this time of year, but do you guys get a chance to see the World Series at all? And if so, do you have a favorite of the two teams? And then lastly, I was going to ask, after Albert Pujols' 3 home runs on Sunday night, what would have been your most impressive collegiate football performance that you might have witnessed?
Okay, number one, I haven't seen a World Series game. Number two, I don't care if the Red Sox aren't playing. And then collegiate football question, what was that one?
Well, most impressive performance, either by a team or by an individual. What would
That I've seen?
That you've seen or comes out of your collective memory of following football.
Any highlights of Mr. Williford would be a highlight for me. But I don't rank them. I mean, I've seen a lot of impressive performances. I don't have an answer to that one right now, Rick.
Okay.
As a follow-up to that, Theo to the Cubs, your thoughts on that?
What's that?
Theo to the Cubs, your thoughts on that?
Yeah, the Red Sox got a big shakeup going on right now. But Ben Cherington's actually a New Hampshire native who was a assistant GM, and I think they'll keep things moving in the right direction. They need to find a manager now that Tito's gone. I was a big Tito fan, so that's the only pulse of the Major League Baseball that I have going right now. So. No, he actually played at Arizona. So when I went to visit the Red Sox, he loved Pac-10 football, and that's all he wanted to talk about. So.